How many games will the New Orleans Saints win in the 2025 NFL season? Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to have a conversation about season win totals, and I am going to try and make you a little bit of monies. Delete that dumbass comment. So, a fella reached out to me on Twitter and said, James, does something look off here? Now, ESPN Bet released their season win totals in the NFL yesterday, okay? Obviously, something caught my mind, or caught my eye, as they say. And it's the New Orleans Saints regular season win total of 5.5. Okay? Now, let me make this clear. I think this number is absolutely insane. Insane. I'll go ahead and tell you this too. It ain't going to be 5.5 for long. This is going to 6.5. It's minus 170 right now, which means it is taking an absolute beating. Other shops like DraftKings are already at 6.5. FanDuel is also at 6.5. As far as I know, ESPN Bet is the only market in the world that has the Saints at 5.5. Okay? So let's talk about the actual number. Last year, the Saints were at 7.5, which we said was ridiculous, which was a crazy number. Would we have been right if everyone stays healthy? Yes, obviously. Okay. It took a miracle, literally a black swan event, for that 7.5 not to hit. Even with the disaster that was the Saints season last year. Think about the Eagles game. Think about the Falcons game. Think about the Commanders game. They still should have went over the 7.5, okay? Or they had a chance to, whatever, however you want to phrase it. Now, let's talk about the actual problem with 5.5. If the Saints were 7.5 last year, now think about everything that was going on preseason last year. Dennis Allen's the head coach. Think about the whole thing. How did the Saints get 2 wins worse, is my question. Do you think the Saints are the same? If you think the Saints are the same, this number should be 7.5. If you think the Saints are a little bit better because of certain players, Talise Fuaga or whatever, if you think, Kellen Moore is that big of an upgrade over Dennis Allen, Brandon Staley, whatever, however you want to, if you think they're better, this number should be 7.5. All right. This number should be right in that ballpark of 7.5. I think the number 7.5, I think, is a fair number for the Saints. 5.5 is crazy as hell. There is no way you can tell me that the Saints got worse, much less that the Saints got dramatically worse. It is like there's a difference between the Saints got downgraded a little bit to the Saints are 2 wins worse than they were going into last season. Going into last season with Dennis Allen, one of the worst offensive line in history, whatever. And then if you think about last season, okay? Think about what the Saints were operating with. Spencer Rattler, 5th-round rookie quarterback starting, Mason Tipton, Bub Means, Connor McGovern at center, undrafted free agents all over the shop. MVS was our best wide receiver. Dante Pettis, Kevin Stone Cold Kevin Austin's out there. Alvin Kamara got hurt. Eric McCoy got hurt. Traded Marshawn Lattimore. Dennis Allen got fired. All of that is what it took to get 5 wins. And now you're telling me that they think the Saints are going to do that again? Nuts. All right? And don't take it from me. All right? I mean, yeah, take it from me because I'm, face of the franchise, the best in the world. Look at DraftKings. Look at FanDuel. They think this number is off. They think this number is crazy. If you look at the Falcons are 7.5. DraftKings, they're 7.5. Okay? It's a little juice to the over. So this is probably low as well, they think. But it's the same. They're a full win off with the Saints. Okay, let's look at the other teams and see if they're a full win off anywhere else. Browns 4.5, 4.5. Jets 5.5, 5.5. Bucks 9.5. It's probably gonna be the same. 9.5, 9.5. Steelers 8.5. Let's see, 8.5. Seahawks 8.5, 8.5. Chargers 9.5. Chargers are 10.5 here. Damn, that is high. 10.5. Wow. Okay, so that's a big discrepancy there as well. 10.5 is a lot. That's kind of crazy. Patriots 8.5. Wow, that's a lot. 8.5. They have them at 7.5. Okay, 8.5 seems like a lot to me. That might be worth a look. 8.5 seems like a big jump. But we're not going to go through the rest of them, but give you an idea of what's going on here. So let's look at the schedule now. Okay, let's look at the schedule, and we're going to try and kind of piece together where we could find the 6 wins. All right. Here's the schedule. Home opponents, obviously the division, Falcons, Panthers, Bucks. We have the Cardinals at home, the Niners at home, Patriots at home, Jets at home, Giants at home. Hey guys, spoiler alert. These aren't great teams. Giants suck. Jets suck. Patriots, well, minimal suck, but still kind of in the pseudo suck category. Niners, fully rebuilding, won 6 games last year. Do they suck? No, but are they good? Probably not either. Cardinals, like these are some pretty meh teams. You could probably find 5 wins right here. Then we have the road opponents. Again, the division. Bills, Seahawks, Dolphins, Rams, Bears, Titans. So we got to find 6 wins. Let's just say we split Atlanta and Carolina. Okay, they have Atlanta at 7.5. They have Carolina at 6.5. Okay, DK has Carolina at. I know. I should do Control F. I know, but they have them at 6.5 too. Okay, so let's say we just split those games, split the division. Let's say we get swept by the Bucks. All right, that's 2. Let's say we beat the Giants. Y'all want to say we beat the Jets? What are we thinking? What are we thinking about the Jets? It's at home, so the Jets are 5.5 wins as well. So we're favored in this game. So we got to say the Jets. All right, so that's 4. Okay. So we've already done the division. So do we get 2 wins out of Chicago, Tennessee, Rams, Miami, Seattle? So we lose to Buffalo. And that's giving us losses to Arizona, New England, the Niners, us getting swept by the Bucks, losing to the Bills. Like, we're not even trying really to get 6 wins, because you could say, yeah, we just split with the Bucks. You could say we split with the Falcons, split with the Panthers, split with the Bucks. You know, quick maths out there that gives you 3 wins. And then, like I said, Giants, Jets, that's 5 right there. Titans 6. It ain't hard to find 6 wins with this schedule. When I first saw the number, I was like, well, maybe we have like a crazy hard schedule. Maybe we've got like just an insane schedule, and maybe it's not. I'm not going to be able to find the 6. And then when I saw this, I was like, okay, well, I've seen enough. I didn't even look at the road games. And then I looked at the road games, and I was like, wait, is that the Titans? Are the Titans on there? Oh, okay, well, all right. Like, I don't know. Well, I do know. So what happens is the first to market, and this happens with props too, they just look at the last performance, right? Like, they look at the last year's wins, then they look at like, okay, well, is this team dramatically better or dramatically worse? But if you don't have the context of the injuries from the Saints last year, then the number is fugazi. Because if you don't know the injuries, okay, and you see last year they had 5 wins, then you look at the roster last year, you look at the roster this year, and you say, well, they have Derek Carr, they have Derek Carr. They have Alvin Kamara, they have Alvin Kamara. They have Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, they have Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. They have same offensive line, same defensive line. Some of the defensive players are getting older. But that's not true, right? Because last year, you didn't have Derek Carr. You didn't have Alvin Kamara. You didn't have Chris Olave. You didn't have Rashid Shaheed. You didn't have Eric McCoy. You didn't have these players. So the question is Spencer Rattler and, Connor McGovern and all these, Kevin Austin and Mason Tipton and Bub Means and all the players last year, are those players the same as Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara, Eric McCoy, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, whatever? No, obviously not. Are the starters one game of an upgrade? I would say absolutely. Are they 2 games of an upgrade? I would say absolutely, yes. And that gets you into that 7.5 world. The Saints are, and that's not even factoring in the coaching staff. That's not even factoring in Kellen Moore over Dennis Allen, the upheaval of firing a coach, what that does to a franchise, all of that. That doesn't even factor in that we're about to have a draft, that we're about to have a top 10 pick. Who knows who we're about to get? Or, if we get Ashton Genty, if we get Mason Graham, if we get Shamar Stewart, or, whoever. There's a lot that's about to happen, but none of it should be considered a downgrade for the team. At the bare ass minimum, I would say this team is the same as last year. I would say it's just somewhere between a 7 and 9 win team, high watermark 10 wins, somewhere in there. No injury. If injuries don't wipe out the team, then they're not a 5-win team. They're not a 6-win team. With a relatively easy schedule, with a relatively soft division. I mean, we just saw the Panthers were, whatever I said, 5.5 wins. The Falcons were 7.5 wins. It's not a crazy division. Okay. So all of that equals way over 5.5. Now, I saved this to the end of the video, but there's probably people who are typing in the comment section saying, well, you said this last year. Delete that dumbass comment, because last year was a black swan event. Last year, 80% of starters got hurt. If you're betting on that to happen again, brother, you shouldn't be betting on season win totals. You should be going and playing the Powerball, okay? If you're betting on all of our wide receivers, our quarterback, our running back, 3 of our starting offensive linemen, all to get hurt and our coach to get fired, whatever. All right. I didn't see it coming, okay? Didn't see it, all right? What I saw was the first 2 games of the year looking pretty good, and then injuries, and then coach get fired, and whatever else. I believe in Kellen Moore. I believe in Brandon Staley. I think the roster is average. Certainly should not be in the same ballpark as the worst teams in the NFL as far as the roster. Now, I will caveat with one thing. The one thing that, now here's the paradox. I think this number is moving. I think this number will be 6.5, especially if we have a big draft. If we get Ashton Genty and we get big name players and high impact level players, this number's going to fly to 6.5. No doubt about it. And 5.5 will not be available anymore. The flip side to that is, if we do something drastic, if we do something like trade Derek Carr, trade up, get Cam Ward, that offers a tremendous amount of volatility, because when it comes to a rookie quarterback, you just don't know. You don't know if you're going to get Jaden Daniels or if you're going to get CJ Stroud, or if you're going to get Christian Ponder or Matt Leinart or Jamarcus Russell, or, it can get bad quick. So I would be less likely to bet this if we got Cam Ward, or Shedeur Sanders or whatever. If I knew they were going to start, if we draft Shedeur Sanders but Derek Carr starts, it doesn't matter. Even though I like Cam Ward, the volatility spikes. All right, and you have like variable sets, like controlled variables or whatever, like discrete variables and controlled variables and all that stuff. Like, you got to factor in randomness and variability at a certain point, and the rookie quarterback thing would make it highly volatile. So I would be much less likely to take the bet or like the bet if we did do that. But then who gives a shit, because we traded up to get Cam Ward and the Saints are back. And I'm ordering Cam Ward jerseys. So I think this is nuts. I'm obviously taking this. I'm actually, ESPN Bet, this is a little peek behind the curtain. I have no idea why. ESPN Bet will not let me bet on their platforms. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know if they... I honestly have no clue. I have been battling with ESPN Bet since December to let me... I can't even log in. I can't even log in and browse the sportsbook. I don't know what the hell is going on. But unfortunately, they're the only ones dumb enough to put this number out there. Bet Rivers, Bet365, DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars, MGM, all the other places I shop, they all have 6.5, or they don't have it on the board. But the second ESPN Bet lets me, I'm hammering this. Okay? I'm taking it. And we're riding the lightning. I would recommend this. I feel very comfortable recommending to each and every one of you, my loyal listeners and viewers. If you want to ride it out for the entire season, I think over 5.5 is a ridiculously low number. There you go. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, get on down in the comments below on a freaking Friday and let me know what you think. And I will see you in the next video. Does anybody do it better?